So in the last class, we were discussing about the fins, and we discussed about the function of the fins. We discussed about various shapes of the fins, and we also discussed about one of the derivations of the fins, which was basically general temperature distribution equation of the fin that we discussed in the last class. And we finally derived the value of the heat transfer also for a particular case of the fin, in which we considered that the fin is of infinite length. Okay, so I will just review it once again. So we started with a rectangular or a pin fin with a cross section of which was of circular cross section. But for the reference here, I have shown this particular diagram. This is the fin. This is a rectangular fin, and you can see here. This was the elemental area. Okay, which we considered for the derivation part, and then to this elemental area we applied the energy balance equation. We said that Qx is the amount of the heat which is entering into this element and Qx plus dx amount of the heat is leaving this element, and from the area which corresponds to P into dx, this area is P into dx. From here the heat is being lost to the surroundings, which is at temperature T infinity, and heat transfer coefficient is H, and this heat transfer which is taking place from this P into dx area is because of convection. And then we derived the general equation. This is the general equation here. Qx should be equal to Qx plus dx plus heat convected out from this elemental area. And then we have written the values here for the various terms. Okay, and we cancelled out certain terms, and finally we got this particular equation, which is the second order differential equation, d2 theta by dx square minus m square theta is equal to 0. And then we said that the general solution for this equation is this one, t minus t infinity, which is also actually denoted as theta, is equal to c1 e raised to power minus mx plus c2 e raised to power plus mx. So this is the general solution, and you know, in this particular case we are having two constants c1 and c2. So we need to calculate the values of c1 and c2 also, so that the final temperature distribution equation is derived. So the one of the boundary conditions is the simplest one. What we can consider is that if this is the fin here, so at the base the temperature is Ts, and we can consider that this is at a distance x is equal to 0, and x is increasing in the direction of the length of the fin. Okay, so by applying this boundary condition, we said that x is equal to 0, theta is equal to theta s, because theta is given by t minus t infinity. So if we will take this particular location here, then outside temperature is T infinity. So at x is equal to 0, the temperature difference will be equal to Ts minus T infinity at this particular point at x is equal to 0. So this is what we said, and this Ts minus T infinity is denoted as theta s. So this was the first boundary condition, and then we said we are going for the case 1 where we are considering that it's a infinite length fin. So infinite length fin means this length of the fin is infinite, in touching infinity. And then we utilize the second boundary condition corresponding to this one. We calculated the value of C2, and finally for this particular case of the fin, we got this particular expression, which is given by theta over theta s is equal to e raised to power minus mx, or I can also write it as T minus T infinity divided by Ts minus T infinity is equal to e raised to power minus mx. This is the temperature distribution equation for the case of infinite length fin, and then we calculated the value of the heat transfer. So we said that whatever is the heat being conducted from the wall or from the solid surface into the fin, that is actually conducted because of that heat transfers because of conduction actually. And whatever is the heat that is conducted, we calculated that. We said the answer comes out to be HPK under root Ts minus T infinity, where this is cross sectional area of the fin. So this was the value of the heat transferred due to conduction. Then we tried to calculate the value of Q convection, and we found that the value of the heat convection is also same, and this is because of the energy balance, because whatever is the heat which is entering into the fin, the same will be also leaving from the surface of the fin by the mode of heat transfer, which is convection actually. So I hope this much part is clear. So once again, this was the first case. We considered infinite length fin, and then we have considered the um, second boundary condition, where I said that the value of x tends to infinity. Okay, and then we have derived this particular equation. Now let us consider the second case. So once again, the second case is finite length fin case. So now what we are saying is that now the length is not infinity, rather we are considering a finite length fin. And second thing in this particular case is that we are considering that from the end of the fin, this we are considering as insulated, or we are saying that there is no heat loss from the end of the fin. So that's it. That is the basic assumption in this particular case, and this assumption is very much valid also. Valid because the fins are very thin actually. If you talk about the thickness of the fin, means if I see the side view, if I am considering a rectangular fin, then this is the side view, and then if I see this particular thickness of the fin, it would be somewhere around 0.1 mm, and it can go up to 0.2 mm. So you can see it is even 10% of 1 mm or 20% of the 1 mm. So it's very thin. Okay, so that is the reason that we can take this particular type of the assumption that the heat loss from the side is very less actually, and that is why we are considering it to be insulated. So we are considering the finite length. It is the case 2. The end of the fin is considered as insulated, so that once it is insulated, there won't be any change in the temperature at this position actually. At the end, there won't be any change in the temperature, and we say that dt by dx will be equal to 0 at x is equal to L. So this is just to start the topic. So once again, actually, if a question comes in the examination that derive an expression for temperature distribution and heat transfer in case of a fin, and consider the fin to be of finite length, then we will have to start from the basics only. The equation which I just explained you, this equation, this we have to derive. We have to start from here and reach up to this particular point only, and then say that this is the solution, and then we have to apply the boundary conditions, because these are three different cases. If you have been asked to solve the problem for two cases simultaneously, in that particular case you can derive the temperature distribution equation only once and then apply the different boundary conditions. But if you are given a particular case and you are asked to derive the expression for a fin of finite length, then once again you will have to start from here. You will have to start from here, and then you will apply the boundary conditions. That part I am not explaining once again here, as I said that proceeding as before. So that means we have to start from the basics itself. We have to apply the energy conservation also. So we will get that this is the solution actually. This is the solution. Okay. Theta is equal to C1 e raised to power mx plus C2 e raised to power minus mx. So this is the equation, actually equation number 1. Now, as previously uh, we applied certain boundary conditions, so we can in this particular case also apply the boundary condition. The first boundary condition is theta is equal to theta s at x is equal to 0. So this boundary condition was used in the previous case also, and I have already explained it to you that if this is the fin and now its length is L. Okay, so I can say that here the temperature is Ts. So at x is equal to 0, the value of theta is equal to Ts minus T infinity, and so we can call this theta as theta s. Okay, so we say theta is equal to theta s at x is equal to 0. Second boundary condition is dt by dx is equal to 0 at x is equal to L and T is equal to TL. No doubt we are considering temperature to be constant here, and we are also considering that this end is insulated. As I already told you, this area is very small, so that is why we can take this type of the assumption. So once again, if we will apply the first boundary condition, when we will take x is equal to 0, so that means in this particular equation you can put x is equal to 0 here and x is equal to 0 here. So that means this value is e raised to power 0 and this value is also e raised to power 0. So basically the equation, when we apply this boundary condition number 1, then we get theta s is equal to c1 plus c2. I hope this part is clear. Now we can apply the second boundary condition, and the second boundary condition says at x is equal to L, T is equal to TL, and theta will be equal to theta L. Okay, this is one way of doing it. So I can write, see, because the temperature here is TL, here it is T infinity. So at this point, theta will be equal to theta L, which is nothing but TL minus T infinity. So I can write theta L is equal to, from the equation number 1 only, this is the equation which I am using. So you can see it here. I have written theta L is equal to C1 e raised to power ml. So x is now equal to L, and here we get C2 e raised to power minus ml. Okay. Now second part of this boundary condition is, see, probably we may not be using this, but this is for your information actually. Okay, we are going to use this part actually, dt by dx is equal to 0 at x is equal to 0. Okay, so first of all we have to differentiate this particular equation. Okay, we have to differentiate this particular equation. This is equal to t minus t infinity. So when we will differentiate this equation, we will get dt by dx, and then let us differentiate this first term, which is c1 e raised to power mx. So c1 will remain as it is, e raised to power mx will remain as it is, and for the power, when we will differentiate it, we will get m here. And similarly, in the second case also, c2 will remain as it is, e raised to power minus mx will remain as it is, and when we will differentiate e raised to power mx, we will get minus m here. So instead of plus sign here in the equation number 1, we have a negative sign here. So now we can calculate the value of dt by dx at x is equal to L. So we just have to place the x here by L. So we will get mc1 e raised to power ml minus mc2 e raised to power minus ml, and this value will be equal to 0 because the end of the fin is insulated. So this is the equation. So let us move to the next slide. So once again we have repeated this equation here. You can just have a look at it. dt by dx is equal to x is equal to L m1 m c1 e raised to power ml minus m c2 e raised to power minus ml, and that value is actually equal to 0. And from here we can directly write that c1 e raised to power ml is equal to c2 e raised to power minus ml. And finally I can say that c2 is equal to c1 e raised to power twice ml. So this is the equation. So basically I have calculated the value of c1 as well as rather I have calculated the value of c2 in terms of c1 actually. Okay, so c2 has come in terms of c1. Now I can go back to the equation number 2. What was the equation number 2? Equation number 2 is this one: theta s is equal to c1 plus c2, and this is equation number 3. So I can I have now two equations with c1 and c2 as two variables. So I can use both these equation and get the value of c1 and c2. So you can see it here. I use this particular equation, and c1 is written as c1. So c1 is written as c1, and in place of c2 I have written this equation, equation number 3, which is giving the value of c2 as c1 e raised to power 2 ml. So finally, using this particular equation, I have calculated the value of c1, and c1 comes out to be ts minus t infinity 1 over divided by 1 plus e raised to power 2 ml. So this is the value of c1. So you can just have a look at it. It's quite easy, not difficult. And then we can proceed to find out the value of c2. Now what is the value of c2? From equation number 3, once again you know that the value of c2 is given by c1 into c2 raised to power c1 e2 raised to power 2 ml. So c2 is equal to c1 e2 ml equal to, now c1 is this value, so this value we have kept here multiplied by this value. So basically we have calculated the values of c1 and c2. Okay, so these two values we have calculated. Now let us see what to do of this these two values of c1 and c2. So if you see the right side equation, right side here, this is the value of c1, this is the value of c2, and then this is the basic temperature distribution equation which we got without applying any boundary conditions. We just got it in terms of c1 and c2. So this is the basic temperature distribution equation of a fin, and then for solving it we have different cases. The first case it was in finite length fin. It is finite length fin case with the end as insulated. So this is the temperature distribution equation. So what we did here, I have written it as c1 e raised to power mx, and instead of c2, now I know that c2 actually is equal to c1 e raised to power 2 ml. So instead of c2 I have put here c1 e raised to power 2 ml, and this is the term which was multiplied here, e raised to power minus ml. So this is the value of theta here. Once again I can take this c1 as common from both the terms, and I get e raised to power mx, e raised to power 2 ml into e raised to power minus mx. So now this theta is actually t minus t infinity. So I go back to here. So t minus t infinity. Now we have to put the value of c1. Now what is the value of c1? Just see it here. It is ts minus t infinity divided by 1 plus e raised to power 2 ml. Okay, so you can just focus here, and here what I have done, this is ts minus t infinity. So I have to put the value of c1 first of all. 1 plus e raised to power 2 ml I have taken inside actually. Okay. So if you see here, this is the first term within the brackets, and the denominator of C1 is taken inside here, plus the second term is e raised to power 2 ml and e raised to power minus mx. So this is the numerator and this is the denominator, which is a part of C1 only. Okay. Then actually I have taken this on the left hand side. I get t minus t infinity, ts minus t infinity. This value is theta and this value is theta s. Okay. So same, uh, you can say same term here. And here what we have done is we have divided the denominator and numerator by e raised to power 2 ml. Means I have divided here by e raised to power 2 ml, and here also I have divided by e raised to power 2 ml. Okay. So when I will divide by e raised to power 2 ml, this and this term will cancel out, and we are left with e raised to power minus mx. And here I will get e raised to power minus 2 ml, and e raised to power 2 ml and e raised to power 2 ml will cancel out, and I will get 1 actually. So it becomes 1 plus e raised to power minus 2 ml. And then it's a sort of algebra. We have taken e raised to power ml in the numerator from this term. So we have segregated it. So that is why this term is actually written as e raised to power ml divided by e raised to power minus ml. So you can see we can take the LCM here. So this term becomes e raised to power minus ml, e raised to power ml, and this e raised to power minus ml goes up in the numerator. So you can see it here. Okay. And similar transformation we have also done in the second term here in a similar manner. And now the denominator of both the terms is same. This one and this one, this is same now. So this has been taken here. And finally, in the uh, first term, it becomes e raised to power minus L minus x, because this term was minus ml. So minus m has been taken common. Similarly, here also it is ml. So I have written it as e raised to power m l minus x. So it is minus ml x and it is m plus mlx. Okay. Now there is a particular reason why we are doing in this manner actually. So let us see. So once again, I have repeated some of the steps. We were here actually. We were here. Okay. Now this particular term theta by theta s. Now this actually is, this whole term is written, can be written as cos hyperbolic ml minus x, whereas the lower denominator term can be written as cos hyperbolic ml. So it has been actually simplified. So final answer for the temperature distribution is this one. So this is the temperature distribution equation. For which case? For the fin of finite length. So this is the case. So you can easily remember it. Theta by theta s is equal to cos hyperbolic ml minus x divided by cos hyperbolic ml. Okay. So it's quite easy. So once again, after having calculated this value of temperature distribution, we want to calculate the value of Q conduction and Q convection. And we know that from energy balance, Q conduction is equal to Q convection. I can write the equation Q conduction is equal to minus KAC dt by dx at x is equal to 0. Okay, because it is this point where it is only conduction which is taking place at x is equal to 0. So I can calculate the value of uh, conduction at that point very easily. And now I have to calculate this value dt by dx at x is equal to 0, and this dt by dx can be calculated from this particular temperature distribution equation. So let us see it here. Now this is actually T minus or I can say that T minus T infinity is equal to Ts minus T infinity cos hyperbolic ml minus x divided by cos hyperbolic ml. So you can see this term is actually a constant. This is a constant term. So this can be taken here. So this is the constant term. So we don't want to, this won't be changing actually. And for cos hyperbolic ml minus x, the differentiation is sine hyperbolic ml minus x. And then we have to differentiate this term. Which term? ml minus x. So this is two parts ml minus mx. And you know that ml is constant, so its differentiation will be 0. And for minus mx, its differentiation will be equal to minus m. So this is what has been written here. So finally, the answer comes out to be dt by dx. Now this value is to be calculated at x is equal to 0. So this is what we are doing in the next term. So minus m, this part, ts minus t infinity cos hyperbolic ml. This is there. And here we are putting the value of x as 0. So finally we are left with sine hyperbolic ml. So now this sine hyperbolic ml divided by cos hyperbolic ml, this becomes tan hyperbolic ml, and the remaining terms same as it is, that is minus m and ts minus t infinity. You can see it here. Okay. So this is the value of dt by dx. So what we have to do? We have to put this value of dt by dx in this particular equation here. We have to calculate the value of q conduction. Okay. So let us see in the next slide here. So this is the value of dt by dx. So now the q conduction value is equal to minus ka, and this is the value of dt by dx at x is equal to 0. So this is this value. And what do I get? I get here, now this is once again AC, cross sectional area. So remember it. At some points I have not used it, but it is cross sectional area. So you can see it, it's a simple steps. So finally the answers for Q conduction comes out to be HPK AC under root into Ts minus T infinity 10 hyperbolic ml. So if you remember exactly, the value of the heat transfer in case of infinite length fin, this was the heat transfer value, this much, this was. So here the addition is only 10 hyperbolic ml. And this is the most appropriate case of a fin actually, because we are considering the finite length. And similar way, after doing this, we can also go for calculating the value of Q convection. And you know, this, if this is the fin and the fin is having a finite length here L, and the heat loss is taking place due to convection from this surface. The temperature at any point is T, and outside it is T infinity, and we know that T is greater than T infinity. So this is the convection heat loss. So I can write, to calculate the total convection heat loss, what I can do, I can you know that the convection is given by H A delta T. Okay, so this is H. Now area which is responsible for the convective heat transfer is, if I say that this is a rectangular or square cross section, so this is the perimeter, this is the side view. In the side view we can see the perimeter of the fin, and multiplied by, because we initially considered this dx thickness, so P into dx is the area through which the heat transfer is taking place. At this particular point the temperature can be considered as T, so T minus T infinity. So this is the heat transfer through the element X because of the convection, and when we integrate it from 0 to L, we can get the value of the total heat transfer due to convection. So once again, let us see how we did it. you can see first two terms hp and dx. So let us first of all focus on these two. hp is written here and dx goes here. So now we have to calculate the value of t minus t infinity. Now what is the value of t minus t infinity? We got this temperature distribution equation. Theta over theta s is equal to cos hyperbolic ml minus x divided by cos hyperbolic ml. So this is given as t minus t infinity divided by ts minus t infinity. So from here we can calculate the value of t minus t infinity. So this is t minus t infinity, and we can write here in place of it cos hyperbolic m l minus x divided by cos hyperbolic ml multiplied by ts minus t infinity. So this term is actually representing, this whole term is representing the value of t minus t infinity. I hope this is clear to you. Now when we see this integration, you can see there are certain terms which are actually constant. For example, if you look at here hp into ts minus t infinity and cos hyperbolic ml, these are the constant terms, so these can be taken out of the integration sign, and inside the integration we are left with cos hyperbolic m l minus x into dx, and we are integrating from 0 to l. So once again this is the constant, and when we will integrate cos hyperbolic m l minus x, the integration is sine hyperbolic m l minus x and divided by minus m, and the limits are from 0 to l. And we can simply put these values, and when we will put it as l here in place of x, it would be sine hyperbolic 0, and this value is actually you will say that it is actually 0 only for sine hyperbolic 0, and when we will put 0 here, so we will get sine hyperbolic ml, which is written here, and the minus sign of this minus sign has been written here, and m has been taken. Okay, yeah, there is a one more minus sign which will come here, I think. Ml, yeah. Sine hyperbolic ml minus x. So when I am putting 0, okay, I will check it. I think it's correct, and I am not able to get it right now. Okay, so if there is any mistake, can you tell me? Okay, so we will see it. So finally, these are the this is the constant term here. Okay, and final answer comes out to be hp ts minus t infinity divided by m into 10 hyperbolic ml, because cos hyperbolic ml is here and this is the sine hyperbolic ml. Okay, so final answer that we get is, now in place of m, what I can do is I can write the value of m, which is equal to hp over kac with a under root. This was the value of m, ts minus t infinity 10 hyperbolic ml. So finally we get this hp and hp will cancel out, and this will come in under root. So final answer comes out to be hp kac ts minus t infinity 10 hyperbolic ml. Okay, so this is the value of q convection, and finally this is the answer for the q convection, and the same answer we got when we derived the equation, conduction equation. Okay, so uh, this is the final answer that we get, whether we are transferring, whether the heat is being transferred because of conduction or because of convection. Okay, so this is the second case, so we have finished with it. Now we are going to the third case, and that is the final case in case of fins. but there can be different types of the boundary conditions. Now this is a practical case, not you can't say that it's a very practical, but yes, what we are considering here is that we are considering the finite length and of the fin and heat loss from the end. So in the previous case we considered that fin is here and the end is actually insulated. Now in this particular case we are considering that the end of the fin is not insulated here, and the heat loss is also taking place because of convection from here, and the fin is of finite length, that the length is actually equal to L. So once again we will have to start from the basic principles. We will have to derive this equation. This is equal to theta c1 e raised to power mx plus c2 e raised to power minus mx. This is the solution of the equation which we derived earlier actually, which was actually d2 theta by dx square plus m theta is equal to 0. So that is the equation which we have derived earlier, d2 theta by dx square plus m square theta is equal to 0. So this was the differential equation which we have got when we applied the energy balance equation, and this is the solution. Now in this particular case we can say q conduction at a length L should be equal to minus ka dt by dx at x is equal to L, and this means we are considering this particular section. So the heat here which is flowing because of the conduction, that is actually represented as, you can say, q conduction at length L. Okay, and this value is minus ka dt by dx at x is equal to L, and this must be equal to heat loss from the end actually. Now it is equal to H into AC. Okay, this is the area. Here also it is AC. So H into AC into TL minus T infinity, because the temperature here is now TL, and this is the cross sectional area only through which the heat loss is taking place. So this is at a distance L from the base of the fin. Okay, this is the base of the fin, and at a distance L from the base of the fin we are considering that heat which is being conducted within the fin is being lost because of the convection. Now where TL is the temperature at a distance L from the base of the fin, that is at x is equal to L. So when I apply this, when I put these two values equal, I get this particular equation: minus k AC dt by dx at x is equal to L is equal to H AC TL minus T infinity. I hope this is clear to you. So what I can do is, once again it is the same equation here. Once again it is AC, and here also it is AC. And we can also differentiate this particular equation to calculate the value of dt by dx at x is equal to L. And the basic equation was theta is equal to T minus T infinity, which is equal to C1 e raised to power mx minus C2 e raised to power minus mx. So when we differentiate it, we get this particular equation. So why we are calculating this value? Because we want to keep it here, dt by dx at x is equal to L. So now when we calculate this value, this is mc1 e raised to power mx minus m2, not m2, it's only mc2 e raised to power minus mx. Okay, so this is the differentiation, and then at x is equal to L we have replaced x by L. Here also we have replaced x by L, and it is not m2, it is only m. So now we can put this value of dt by dx, this value, in this particular equation here. Here we can put it, and we will get minus k AC, and AC you can see it is cancelled out. Here we have written, you can see mc1 e raised to power ml minus mc2 e raised to power minus ml, and that value is equal to H TL minus T infinity. Now from equation 0, 0 means I think we have considered this value as the 0 equation. If this is the equation number 0, so at x is equal to L, I can get the value of TL minus T infinity, because this TL minus T infinity is to be put here. That will be equal to C1 e raised to power ml and C2 e raised to power minus ml. Okay. So once again, same equation. So now you can see here, previously we got this expression. This is corresponding to minus Ka dt by dx at x is equal to L. And here I have got this as the value of this is the value of TL minus T infinity. Okay. So this equation can be simplified further. So you can see it here. Some steps have been done, and after doing these two steps, you can go through these two steps. We get the value of C2 in terms of C1, which is given as e raised to power ml h plus mx divided by e raised to power minus ml divided by into mk minus h. So this is the value of C2. So you may have to pause the slide and then you can look for how we have calculated it. It's very easy. So what we have considered next is mk plus h divided by mk minus h is equal to a. So this term, we are talking about this term. This is mk plus h divided by mk minus h. This has been considered as a. So the value of C2, you can see it here. C2 is equal to C1 into e raised to power 2 ml, because this will go up and it will become e raised to power 2 ml. So C2 is equal to a into C1 e raised to power 2 ml. So this is the value. We have simplified it quite a lot. So this is the value of C2. Now we can apply the boundary conditions. What are the boundary conditions? Now this is the first boundary condition number 1, at x is equal to 0. What is at x is equal to 0? It is nothing but theta s, okay, or t is equal to ts. And you know, we will get theta s is equal to C1 plus C2. This is what we are going to get. You can see it here. This is nothing but theta s, which is equal to C1 plus C2 when we apply the first boundary condition. Now this is equation number 4 here. Okay. And what was the equation number 3? This was the equation number 3 where we have calculated the value of C2 in terms of C1. And we can put this value of C2 here. Okay. So here if we will put the value of C2 in terms of C1, so this is the value of C2, whole value of C2. So now we are in a position to calculate the value of C1. So C1 comes out to be this value. And C2, as you know, is equal to A into e raised to power 2 ml into Ts minus T infinity 1 plus A raised to power A into e raised to power 2 ml. So basically, you doing all this analysis by applying the energy balance at the end of the fin, we are able to calculate the value of C1 and C2. And that is basically what we require actually. And we can put these values of C1 and C2 in equation number 0. What was the equation number 0? It was actually equal to theta is equal to C1 e raised to power mx plus C2 e raised to power minus mx. So now we can put it there. So you can see it here. So this is C1. So t minus T infinity, this is the value of C1 e raised to power minus mx plus this is the value of C2 e raised to power minus mx. So the further analysis is quite much comprehensive. So there are few steps, and finally, when we try to do it, its solution, finally we get this particular value t minus T infinity divided by Ts minus T infinity, that is theta by theta s is equal to this particular value cos hyperbolic ml minus x h over mk sine hyperbolic m L minus x, and similarly we have a similar term without x, cos hyperbolic ml plus h over mk sin hyperbolic ml. So quite difficult expression to mug up, but don't worry. And then finally, when we calculate the value of Q conduction means we have to calculate Q conduction using the equation minus Ka dt by dx at x is equal to 0. So when we calculate this value of dt by dx at 0 from this particular equation, we will get this particular value of the heat transfer. Q conduction is equal to HPK AC Ts minus T infinity multiplied by H over Mk plus 10 hyperbolic ml plus 1 divided by 1 plus H over Mk 10 hyperbolic ml. So this you need to remember actually, and this equation also, both these equation you can mug up. You need to remember them in the case of the finite length fin, and here the spelling of finite is also incorrect. Okay. So we have done three cases of the fins. The first one was finite length of the fin. The second one was finite length fin with the end not losing heat, that is it is insulated, and the third is the fin with the case when there is heat loss from the end also, and that is not a practical case. Basically the second one is the more practical case, and you need to remember that. You remember that in that particular case theta by theta is equal to cos hyperbolic m into L minus x divided by cos hyperbolic ml, and then its heat transfer rate is also quite easy, which was under root hp kac into ts minus t infinity into 10 hyperbolic ml. So that's quite easy to remember. And the present case, in this present case, we have considered that the fin is of finite length and there is heat loss from the end also, and it's not a practical case, but yes, we have derived the expression for it. So now let us discuss very simple thing. See, we have discussed the topic of fins, and uh, whenever we are applying a fin on a particular surface for increasing the heat transfer, we must calculate what is the effectiveness of the fin. That means when we are applying the fin, or when we are incorporating a fin on a particular surface, how much effective is it? So that effectiveness we need to define actually. Now, what is the definition of effectiveness of fin? It is defined as epsilon, which is equal to heat transfer with fin. That means suppose this is the bare surface which is losing heat directly because of convection, and this is the surface where we have applied the fin, and it is here the heat transfer area has increased. Some heat is being lost from here, some heat is lost from here, and so on. So there is much increase in the heat transfer with fin, and we are comparing it with heat transfer without fin. So basically it is equal to Q with fin divided by Q without fin. So heat transfer without fin. So here, because the most practical case was the second one, which was the fin of the finite length, and it is not losing heat from the end. So we have considered that particular case only. It is given by Ts minus T infinity HPK AC cross sectional area into 10 hyperbolic ml. And what is the value of m? M, you understand, it is equal to HPK AC under root. So this value is already known to you, divided by heat transfer without fin. Now this is area A. Okay, from same area we are considering here. Okay, same area AC. That means this much area from which the heat transfer is taking place. Okay, because only on this area we have applied the fin. So we will be talking about this particular area only on which the fin is there. So from this area the heat loss is equal to HAC into Ts minus T infinity, and we can cancel out certain terms, and this will go, and H into AC, this HAC, and then this will be under root. So PKHAC under root into 10 hyperbolic ml. This is the effectiveness of the fin. So this is a very important relation. Mostly if you are going for competitive examinations also, they may ask you this particular definition. And then finally, we can also define the fin efficiency. Now fin efficiency is given by heat transfer through the fin divided by heat transfer through the fin if its entire surface were to be at the surface temperature of the wall. So what is the meaning here? See, this is the area AC, okay, and here the temperature is TS. So when we are calculating the heat transfer through the fin, we already know we are considering the most practical case. The value is given by this expression under root HPKAC TS minus T infinity 10 hyperbolic ml. So this is the value of the heat transfer through the fin actually. And now what we are considering? We are considering it with a uh, case where we are considering that if there is a fin, if there is a fin, and we are considering each point of the fin at the base temperature, that is the temperature at every point, at each and every point of the fin is actually equal to Ts. In that particular case, what is the value of the heat transfer? So it will tell us about the efficiency of the fin. So uh, we can say that now if you will calculate this value, because we are considering the second case, so there is no heat loss from the end, and this is the perimeter, this is perimeter multiplied by length of the fin. Okay, so the area through which the fin is losing heat is P into L, H into Ts minus T infinity, because Ts is the surface temperature of the fin. So you can see certain terms will cancel out and we are left with KAC HP 10 hyperbolic ml divided by L, and this is the value of the fin efficiency. And both these terms are very important in case of fins. So right now it is 10:57, and I would end my lecture here. In the next lecture, I will discuss about proper length of the fin. Okay, we have defined two types of the fin cases, rather three types of the fin cases. As I told you, the first case is also not practical, last case is also not practical, second case is practical, but we should know what should be the appropriate length of the fin actually. That we need to know. We cannot say that uh, this much length is the appropriate length or this much length is the appropriate length. So we will have to define it so that there is uh, effective type of fin. Effective type of fin means the heat transfer is also good, and simultaneously the cost of installing the fin is also least actually. So we would like to go for that particular length of the fin. Okay, so that is what I wanted to tell you in this lecture. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Any questions?
No, sir.